Welcome to the Smoking Word.
Before today's episode, we don't want to start it on a sour note, but we got the bad news that we lost a New York hardcore brother, and we want to dedicate this show to Rob from Black Train Jack. This one's for you.
Welcome to the Smoking Word.
Yo, what's up, everybody? The Smoking Word is back and always brought to you by CasaDeRock.com. Everybody knows the deal. That's my merch store. Everything is done in-house by your boy. We got T-shirts, we got shorts, we got a bunch of shit. And to celebrate 2021, if you haven't heard, I made all T-shirts $21. So you can support the show by copping some merch. And now I'm really glad and finally, I'm very psyched to drop our Patreon. Our Patreon is finally live. And I'm going to do a little explaining on this Patreon shit because I was one of these guys that didn't understand it and didn't give a shit about it. But this is a way to invest in the show. If you like what you hear, you like the content, and you want to keep hearing the Smoking Word, this is how you can support the show. You go to Patreon/The Smoking Word. And on there, we got 4 tiers of stuff. You get exclusive, video. You get exclusive content. You're going to get, I'm dropping Smoking Word TV on YouTube, and you guys are going to be able to see and get stuff that nobody else, unless you're a member, is going to be able to get. So, again, we don't want nothing for nothing. We're giving something for something. So, you want to invest in the show, go to Patreon/The Smoking Word. And, again, pick a tier, and we're going to have fun with it. We got a lot of dope shit. We got an album of the month. We're going to have live streams from the backstage and all that good shit. So, and enjoy these videos while you can, because I'm always going to throw the audio up, but the visuals are going to be for the Patreons. You know what I mean? For all my patrons out there. So, but yo, everybody out there, support the show. You could do it like that. You can also follow me at Hoya Rock 357 on Instagram. You know the deal. The Smoking Word. Also, you guys got to add me on Instagram. We're trying to keep everybody up to date on what we're doing. We got a lot of things going, as you could tell. Like this COVID shit, this shit might have fucking stopped some people, but this shit just lit a fire under our asses. So we're dropping a lot of shit. A lot of stuff is about to come out. So add the Smoking Word podcast on Instagram. And if you have any questions you want to write into the show, you want to shout us out, you want to just talk shit, you want to curse us out and get this back, you can write us at the Smoking Word podcast at yahoo.com. So hit us up on that, show some love, spread the word. Yeah, and I want to give a big shout out to Warlock Cabinets. They're a company out of Massachusetts. Guy's doing it, out of he has his own space, and he makes some really dope stuff. You can follow them on Instagram, and also you could check them out at Warlock Cabinets at Big Cartel. We're in the works right now on making a Hoya Rock rum shaking box that is in the works. That's all I'm going to say right now, but look out for that. We got something dope in the works with that. And also I want to welcome to the fucking Smoking Word family, the Hella Hot Sauce fam from San Francisco. If anybody knows me, they know I'm a hot sauce fanatic. And I actually met them in San Francisco a couple years back. And they're it's a guy and his wife. They make the stuff out of their house, real cool guy, and they all support the underground movement. Actually, my boy Frankie Haybree, what's up, Frank? His sauce is up next, but they got all natural, fresh ingredients, no weird fucking preservatives and shit like that, and really good flavors. And so far, I started out with this one for everybody out there, the Hella Hot Sauce fam. Go check them out. I've been rocking this on my rice cakes with that hummus. Not a lot of heat on this one, but this one has a good flavor. I'm waiting to get to that hot shit that's coming up, but I'm gonna be dropping some reviews. So yo, go check them out. The Hella Hot Sauce fam. They're on Instagram. Look out for the reviews. And I also gonna be dropping do-it-yourself hot sauce with the Hella Hot Sauce fam for my patrons. So you're gonna want to get down with that. And what else could I say? This episode coming up, you know, I want to keep things fresh and sexy and just not do the same 1 and 2s. And you know, of course, everybody, I hope you went out and heard that all about that bass episode. But I wanted to do something for the X-Men of the game. And I said, who better than, I've been blessed to have my brothers be some of the groundbreaking bricklayers of this house, of this movement that we play in, and just some badass guitarists. So, you know, I decided to get, who else? I cannot have a guitar episode without the one and only, the Godfather Hardcore, my brother, the one and only Vinny Stigma, my brother, Wildcard Maddie Henderson, and my brother, the Viking, Lars Frederiksen. So this one's for you Axe guys. Yo, let's set this shit off.
To the smoking word.
Yo, what's up? What's up? This very, very special episode of the Smokin' Word podcast. And I figured we're gonna have a little fun with it. And this one's for all the guitar guys out there. And I figured let me bring up to the stage first, the one and only, the godfather of this whole shit we do, my brother, the one and only, godfather of New York hardcore, Vinny Stigma. Lars, what's up?
What up?
It's funny because I just announced Stigma and you popped up. Yo,
Well, there you go.
what's up, Lars? Welcome to the Smokin' Word podcast.
What's up, buddy? How you doing today?
First of all, I just want to say you're the most on point motherfucker for the guy I talked to the least about it. But, you know, I should have known that because, you know, proof's in the pudding.
I'm on rancid time, bro.
That's what I mean. And I forgot rancid, you know, don't let, you know, all the pins and the holes in the clothes fool you. These motherfuckers are on point.
You know, it's what we have a saying, 10 minutes early is right on time.
You know what's, Lars, again, you know what time it is. But Lars, again, like I said, this is one we're going to have some fun with. I said, let me do something special. I wanted to do the guitar. First of all, guys that I love and I think are important to our whole movement. And it just happened to be you guys are my brothers, and across the board, a different flavor. For this one's for the guitar guys out there. So I said, Lars, I had to get you back on because let's talk some guitar shit. But, you know, I said, let's bring some more people along. And I figured, who else we got on deck? Let's bring the next guy on deck. Because you never know who's going to go with this raffle, right? It's like a slot machine.
Who is it? Oh, the kids.
Oh! And just like that, we got Maddie Henderson in the building. Do you hear me, Maddie?
The man.
Maddie, you hear me?
Yo,
You hear me? Do you hear me?
yeah. You hear me?
Oh, all right, yeah. We're just, you know, when you put gorillas and technology together, weird things happen, but they happen.
Yeah.
Maddie, welcome
Yes,
to the
sir.
Smokin' Word again.
Pleasure to be here.
As you can see, who we got next to us.
What's up, brother?
What's up, bro? How you been?
Yeah,
Hanging in there.
Right on, right
we
on.
had a little technical difficulties, but with the magic of editing, it's gonna look like magic. But look at, but like I was telling Lars, Maddie, we had talked about this before. I said I wanted to have fun with it, and I said we did that all about that bass episode, and I said I wanted to do something for the guitar guys because you know better than anybody. I'm a bass player, but I'm a big fan and lover of the guitar. And like I was telling Lars, I just had my brothers just happen to be some of my favorite guitarists, and they're all three different guitarists of three different flavors. I figured, perfect, let's do this. And they gave us a reason to get together and talk shit. But, you know, none of this could not have happened without one person. We missed them on the Set It Off reunion episode. But this one was not going to happen unless this man was here. Not only is he, I owe him everything I do because I met my wife, rest in peace. I got my career. I got my children. I got everything I do is based upon the music I play and the movement I follow. And this man is basically the guy who his boots is what I try to walk in.
Yep.
In this movement. And
Yep.
from everything, from the way he thinks, from how his outlook on the music, from his craziness, from his freedomness to his crazy guitar playing, you know, which we're going to talk about and all that stuff. I said, we need the Godfather, the one and only Vinny Stigma in the building if we're going to do a guitar episode. So I wanted to do this shit again. You know, everybody right now, you know, the whole how you got into this music, you know, that shit is all cool, but that shit is so played out at the moment. You know what I mean? Like the one-on-one stuff, you know, and it's stuff that, in all fairness, people in our world, there's always somebody new, and it's good for them to get informed and all that. But I wanted to have fun with it. And with the whole bass episode, and you know us, we're always backstage. Like, me and Lars were, you know, we have a drum beef when we were talking drummers one time. But, you know, and you know, Maddie, we were always talking, which we'll bring up later, is the Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
You know, there's always this guitar shop, and I said, yeah, I forget who my people are. And I said, yo, you know, these are the combos that people always ask me, what did this guy think of? What did this guy think of? I said, well, now you could just tune in and listen, you know? But let's start with this. But this is the only kind of, how did this start? Guitar, Lars.
Yeah.
Why guitar? Like, you know, where was your first encounter with it, and why guitar?
Well, actually, the first instrument I ever got was a bass. And
that explains why I like you a little bit more than maybe the average guy from drum. But all right, bass.
But it had like, I think it had 3 strings on it. The action was like this high off the fucking thing, you know? And my friend Vinny had it in his closet, and he wasn't using it. And he's like, just take it. And I didn't know how to tune it or anything. You know, I must have been about 11 years old. And then I just kind of couldn't figure it out. Yeah. And when a few years later.
What were you listening to then, Lars? Sorry, what were you listening to at that time?
Well, it was all punk at that time, you know. It was all the oi shit.
Okay.
Because this would have been like 81, 82. So, because I was like 10 or 11. So I was listening to like GBH and stuff like that, you know, and of course AC/DC, and I think I was kind of coming out of my, like the Kiss records were starting to go back in the shelf, you know what I mean? And so I would just kind of sit and try to make sounds with it. But like I said, it was so hard to play, and you had to like really, and you know, when you're 11 years old, you don't got any finger strength or anything like that. At least I didn't anyway.
Yeah.
But you know, I got a hard on every time the wind blew fast, but you know, that's what happens when you're 11, right? So.
See all that a long time ago for you, Lord.
Yeah, so I my brother was the first one to have a guitar, and he used to keep it under his bed, and I used to sneak it when he was away, because if he caught me, he'd beat the shit out of me. So
which guitar was it? Do you remember? Was it
It was like a Strat copy kind of thing. His buddy Cliff had taken all the Budweiser labels off of the beer bottles and made it. Put it all over the guitar.
Oh yeah, that was
and then like, because they had that sticky stuff, you know what I mean? So,
you know.
But you know, and I would play it every once in a while, and then I bought my first guitar when I was like 15.
What was your first guitar that you bought?
It was the guitar I was on that I smashed, and that's on the Root Radicals cover.
Oh shit!
It was called the Paul Deluxe. There was a band called the Purple People Eaters. And one of the guys in the band,
dope name.
So I grew up, you know, with this guy Simon Woodstock. He ended up becoming like a professional skateboarder and stuff. And his brother was a musician, and his brother gave him that guitar. And then to trade Simon for the guitar, I covered Simon's Paper Route for like 3 months. You really wanted it. You see, kids, when you know, that's the shit. When you know, with this music shit like us. We would do anything to be able to make noise out of these pieces of wood, you know, like we would paper routes, get jobs, do things we would never want to do, walk miles to the studio, you know, just to get in a studio and make noise, you know, with your friends. It's crazy. And I want to say this, shout out to Big Brothers, because and a lot of our background, same thing with me playing. If it was me, I played bass because my big brother wanted to play bass. So I said, fuck it. It must be cool if he thinks it's cool.
if it wasn't for our big brothers around, us little brothers wouldn't have something to try to copy and then find ourselves and shit.
I probably wouldn't have learned how to take a punch either.
Well, yeah, that too, because my brother punches hard. Let me tell you,
Oh,
that
shit.
motherfucker's a gorilla. Maddie, let me ask you. I kind of know the story, but kind of not. Also, I thought you were born with a guitar. I thought you popped out of Mrs. Hendy with the fucking the flying V, the polka dotted flying V, ready going. You know, but Maddie, but again, a lot of people. You're known. You're known, and for a lot of the newer kids when the hardcore was starting to cross over, and was starting to cross over again, in a different way. A lot of people looked at the one voice playing, that era of playing. So, it's good. So your first guitar, like what guitar again? How did that shit fall into your lap? What turned you on about that?
Yeah, I was playing drums by like the time I was like 6 years old.
Drums
I actually
first.
had like a Ludwig snare drum. Because I'd already gone through like, kind of the fake, toy drum kit stage. Because I had an uncle who played drums, right? So I was like, drums are cool, man. He'd let me sit down behind his kit every once in a while. And eventually got a Ludwig snare. And I used to just beat on that to Kiss records, right? So drum, I wanted to be Peter Criss, all the drums and just, loud, loved Kiss, loud, heavy music. Loved playing drums, and then wound up meeting this kid at school who had a drum kit and an electric guitar, and it was a cheap, we called it Lucille because it looked like a BB King, Gibson,
That's kind of like the Tim guitars, like a Lucille, right?
Yeah, right, exactly that look. Yep. And so he could fool around on the guitar and just kind of make like. He made up his own goofy little songs, like on a single string, either the low string or the high string. And then I'd start playing drums and, like, this is awesome. We're jamming. But then Eddie Van Halen came out, Van Halen 78. And I was just like, it was amazing.
Yeah, I know Eddie Van Halen was your guy.
So I'm like, and I went to this school. It was like a hippie school. Right, it was called Open School.
I love this, Lars. You know this about Matt. This is great because
and so we had a school band, right? And all I wanted to do was play music. School beyond that really didn't mean that much to me. And there was this younger guy teaching school band, and he was a local musician in a lot of like R&B bands, like. Kind of like bluesy R&B style. He was
that explains your flavor. I'm glad you met. Was he a guy of color? Was he Hispanic or black?
You know what? He was a man of same complexion as myself. But he spoke in a way that made you know.
Yeah, he was a cool white boy.
All shades, right?
Yeah, he was a Bill Clinton white boy, a sax playing white boy. He was
exactly.
like Hendy white boy. First of all, like Matt's pop, was the cool guy. Matt's pop is the one who put him on the music.
True.
So he's like a white boy who liked the flavor. Yeah. So shout out to you white boys who like flavor out there.
So this guy would he had part of the school band thing is he had an electric guitar and an amp. And it had a little good distortion to it, right? And he could play. He could. This is the first guy. He used to do it for me, and I learned how to do it from him. These are the back in the days when you put a record on the turntable and you'd listen and try to play along. Yeah. And this guy could give me dumbed down versions of just about every song I wanted to try to learn. And I told my friend who owned the guitar, I said, go chill with the band teacher because he can teach you real songs, and then we can really play. And my friend's like, I don't know, I'm not really into it. I'm like, fuck it, I'll play the guitar. So I got Eddie Van Halen in my mind. I got this guy who knows how to teach and show me real songs, and that's how it started, man. I was 10 years old.
First guitar, what was it?
The first guitar I bought with my own money was $125. It was a Kalamazoo.
Yo, that shit is mad money for Kalamazoo back then.
That Kalamazoo is actually an old division of Gibson.
Oh, I thought it was an old wooden ship. No, all right.
I thought it was a place in Michigan.
Yeah,
It
the good old Kalamazoo.
You know,
Right.
something that you said, Maddie, that makes perfect sense because I've always when I hear you play guitar, I know it's you. You have a very distinct thing, and I've always thought that you are very percussive. So it makes so much sense that you started with the drums because your right hand is so solid.
Drums are everything to me, man.
Yeah.
Drums are everything.
I mean, because that's the way I vision it too. If I'm with the drums, then everything else has the space. But like when I hear you play guitar, it's like, oh yeah, he must.
Percussive, yeah.
Very, very percussive, and that's your style is so unique, and everybody tries to emulate it.
And I think, wait a minute, we have an alert.
Oh.
I think Stigma has landed. Stigma has entered the building. Everybody, Stigma. I'm glad to get. Like I was telling everybody, this episode was gonna be. You should have been on a while ago. That's another story.
Oh yeah.
But this one was for the guitar guys, and I said we're working this shit around Stigma because this is basically the Stigma episode, and my excuse to hang out with us, to hang out with you.
I just lost you.
So, Stiggy, how you been?
I'm all right. I lost the screen thing over
Yeah,
there.
we just lost it.
That's
But
okay.
you got a great background.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah,
We
you
got
look like a real DJ.
it's a big multi-million-dollar operation I got over here.
It
Stigma.
looks like it.
Spotify said no. Apple said no. So I'm in spot Apple. I'm in this
Yeah, well,
middle zone.
You know what I got to say?
Talk to yeah. But Stiggy, no. So look we're talking. So today this one was for the guitar guys, and I was like, because who better, like I was telling, especially in our world, I was like, we could trace a lot of our history to you, and a lot of your influences is basically what we do. If we like it or not, or if people out there want to acknowledge it or not, it's a fact because you were one of the, like it or not, people could say what they want. You were one of those first bricks in this shit in this house we live in. So we all got some stigma in us. All right.
I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, and that's the best part, and that's how magic happens. When people go out and plan shit, nothing happens. You can see it's fake. You did some shit because it was felt. It wasn't talked about.
You guys are great because Lars is a great songwriter. Maddie Henderson, poor Maddie, he used to duct tape my hand to the guitar.
Poor man.
He tortured me, but he got patience of a saint. I gotta give it to Maddie.
No, we're gonna go into that. Well, I want to start with this because I was just talking with them, and you came at the perfect time. And this is what I wanted to know. Like guitar, like why guitar? Like what was your first thing? What was the thing that made you bite? Like to grab one. Like why not the drums and bass? Like some of these other guys.
I tried drums. I had 3 sets of drums. I'm not a drummer.
Lars, you hit us another drummer guy. Another drummer.
I'm a real good bass player, but I always wanted to play the guitar. And because my uncles played the guitar, they played guitars and ukuleles, and I still know all the old songs. Who's Sorry Now, Pennies from Heaven, And I always got an acoustic guitar, and I fooled around with it. Where as a kid, didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, I don't want this fucking thing. I want an electric guitar. So I would smash the guitar. Then one day, there were guitars in the neighborhood for $90 with the crocodile case and everything. I mean, really?
I like that croc case.
Fender Mustang with a stripe on it, a racing stripe. That was my first real guitar, and
wow.
I always wanted an electric guitar. And Jimi Hendrix with the Fender.
Yeah,
and I looked so cool in that guitar. Like, it fit my body.
Yeah, and guitar guys, it's fair to say we're always cool. Then even when you guys to be the guitar guy was like a cool guy, right?
You got to be a real man to play a bass.
Whoa! Let him know, Stiggy. Let him know. Okay,
that's true. I gotta say that. Got our hands.
I was sick of being a virgin. That's why
Did you towel off yet?
Yeah. And all right, let me ask you this. So, all right, early. This is a good one for all you guys because. Besides obviously early influences or whatever, but like, we all grew up with kind of similar, it's some what do you call it, classic rock, and then everybody fell into their punk rock, oi, hardcore kind of thing in different phases. All right, Stiggy, let me start with you on this one. Your first guy, all right, Jimi Hendrix, with his fair say your first guy was, okay, I got a guitar now. Jimi Hendrix is a guy that, okay, I could look up to and I love him. I want to try to do what he does.
Yeah, he was definitely the one.
The one. Yeah.
And then as I started like getting into, guitar, I always wanted to be that guitar, like Andre Segovia or Joe Paz. These are like jazz.
Who
guys.
are these guys? Oh, jazz guys. I don't even know the fuck that. I thought they lived down the block.
Plays 12-string guitar. They're like, I wanted to be like, like a Caruso. I love, music.
Yeah.
My kid, I'm a hardcore guy. I went punk rock and I played 3-4 chords. You mingle them up side to side, forward and back, and you make a song.
And there you go.
Really,
Thank you. Good night. Stigma has left.
The same song over and over.
Lars.
Can I say something? Because
go ahead.
You mentioned Joe Pass. And, when I first joined Agnostic Front, I was just coming out of, starting my shit at Berklee College of Music, right? And that's all jazz over there, all jazz. And I didn't really know that when I started. I knew jazz was a part of it, but I mean, unless you want to be a jazz musician and you're not, that school's not necessarily the best place for you. But so when me and Vinny were, getting to know each other and playing guitar together and just talking and hanging, and I was working on this one little progression, there was a little jazz, thing. And I remember, do you remember the line, Vinny? I showed it to you, and you and I used to play it together. It was like this little jazz progression, and I know you really liked it. And we started talking about Joe Pass. I'm like, oh shit, Stigma knows who Joe Pass is. And he told me, yeah, and I went to some clinic or something. You saw him do a clinic.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
But the one thing you said, man, all I could really do is just pay attention to his head because it's bald and he was sweating.
I'm very easily distracted.
So sweaty heads when you got out of the clinic.
I remember that. Yeah. See how easily distracted. Maddie used to duct tape my hand to the guitar to teach me how to palm mute.
Palm
Hey,
mute.
Palm muted.
Yeah, because Stigma was doing, what do you call that, Lars? When the hillbillies used to use the washboard.
Stigma was doing a lot of this.
Yeah. No, but this is what. No, Stigma got it, but at one point he was like, "Oh, fuck you guys," just because I think he didn't want to hear us bothering him. He went against us. He was punk rock even with us. He was punk rock.
Stigma is the consummate performer. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, of course. He's not. It's just how he lives. It's not even performing. It
doesn't even matter. He oozes personality. There's so much charisma and one guy. It's like, come on, share a little bit with the rest of
them. Yeah, but you know what? I had such great times with all you guys. I mean, if it's with Robin Williams drinking coffee in my kitchen, singing doo-wops with you, Lars, or Maddie Henderson struggling to teach me a song, or you, Hoy, and me and you throwing bottles at people.
I know.
Going on tours and having a good time, because I just did this last tour, the Persistence tour. And I came home the day Kobe Bryant died. Yeah. That was January 26th. I played the London Academy. Great show. It was my last show. I was fucking dead tired. But I said, you know what? I'm going to leave it all on stage. So I said goodbye to everybody the night before. Goodbye. Oh, yeah. I'm telling you tonight, goodbye.
Oh, yeah. That's a Stigma move.
Goodbye again. Get the fuck out of here. I said goodbye the night before. It was a lousy, rainy night in England. You know what they say about England? Come for the food, stay for the weather. Yeah, okay. So anyways, lousy night. We played the London Academy, 3 tours, sold out, beautiful. I was on target. And then we found out Kobe Bryant died. I went home. I figured, I got another tour lined up in a little bit. And then, boom, the COVID hit. And I've been flat ever since. Yeah. I mean, I did the thing for Jesse, Save the Stages, and I'm doing something for Mark Generation Records.
Yeah,
Revive the Music.
Stigma, you're doing what you did. Stigma, you're doing what you did back then. You're doing your part to keep the shit alive, to keep the shit. You haven't stopped.
How many benefits I did for CBGBs?
I know.
We actually ran that place.
Yeah, I know.
With Roger, especially with Roger.
Stigma is the proof in that pudding. It may be a little sour, but he's the proof in that pudding. A little bit. But okay. Lars, this is what I want to know. Like we were talking about the one guitar guy, because this is weird because you also jumped into the whole band, the whole punk rock real early. So I was wondering, your guitar guy, I was automatically assuming it had to be some punk rock dude. How Stigma's guy was Jimi Hendrix. Who was your guy when you were ready to play? I could be wrong. It could be AC/DC guy or somebody. But
well, that's the thing. I think there's like 4 prominent guitar players for me, and that was obviously Ace Frehley, Malcolm Young, and it was more so than Angus, because I remember hearing AC/DC and just kind of hearing that rhythm guitar and going, that would be easier for me to do.
Okay. Oh, so that early on, you already was listening to the lead guitar and rhythm guitar, because I never learned about none of that till I played with Maddie, and then I had to pay attention to 2 guitars. Because I played with 2 guitars, but I never paid attention. I would just worry about myself. So
Right.
I kind of had to train myself to hear everything. So it's hard to do early. That's what I was.
For sure. And then it was like, obviously, Jock from GBH. And then most importantly, I will say, fucking Steve Whale from The Business, because that sound on Supreme Rebels, and the way that, like, now that I know, just by, playing with him, but also now that I'm a little bit more educated on making records and whatever, he's a little bit behind the beat.
Yeah.
He's not like on the one, like me and Maddie would probably be, when we would probably like have a shit conniption fit at one.
Yeah.
It's like a Stigma. Stigma is wild.
Yeah.
And I've recorded Stigma, and Stigma can fucking play.
Yeah.
But he's got it's like, I remember when we were doing that Agnostic Front record, Riot Upstart, and if you soloed anybody, you'd just be like, what the fuck is going on? But when you had everybody in, it was like, oh yeah, it's like, this is everybody's doing their thing and bringing their style. So that's the side note. But Steve Whale, like he just had that big guitar sound, and it was just like the way that he left the space open.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be like, a full on downstroke like Johnny Ramone or something like that. It would just be like these big, like what we call in Rancid, and I don't know why we call them that, but we call them football chords.
Football.
I don't know why we call them that, but it just happens. I don't know.
And I totally see that, because this is the thing with Steve. Like, when people that know Steve, like he's a white boy with flavor. An English guy, he has this a flavor that is not a loud flavor, but he has a swag that you could tell. Like, that's my brother. And look, me and Steve, we've been in hip hop clubs, we've been in rock, we've been in chasing people, running out of everything. But he has a flavor to him that ain't what, a stereotypical, what you think, old oi, guitar guy would have. He has that. That's why his rock and roll is dope. You know what I mean? Like, it has that.
One of the things I learned mostly from him is he would listen to so many different kinds of music. You know what I mean? And I think for a long time for me, it was like, if it was in the punk, hardcore, reggae kind of realm, I was into it, and I'd listen to some metal stuff like Slayer or whatever, and Exodus and Creator and like that. But like, he would listen to such a broad spectrum of stuff. And for me, with music had to be super, like, even if it was like Manowar, it just had to be like, just so like next level, like, loincloths and fucking swords for me to like get behind. So that's probably why I love punk so much. That's why I love Kiss, because it was like kabuki.
Yeah. You like the theatrics, a little bit more theatrics with the sound.
But once like the, like New York hardcore came, I mean, that was a game changer. That changed everything in punk rock. It became more, I feel like it was like America's, like, I feel like hardcore music was like the original American skinhead music. You know what I mean?
And it was, well, like AF was,
Exactly. And I saw AF, I remember going to see when you guys were supposed to be on tour with GBH, and you guys played One Step Beyond, and that show, the Cro-Mags, I guess you guys split the tour with the Cro-Mags. This is what, 85, 86 maybe?
Yeah, we did most of that tour, yeah.
Yeah, but
when you talk about it.
Well, when you guys played California, it wasn't you. It was the Cro-Mags instead of. Yeah. So, on that tour, anyways, it was like The Accused, GBH, and it was supposed to be you guys, but Cro-Mags were there. But I mean, whatever.
Listen, there's been always, history of, skins in New York, and this guy is that guy. AF was the first skinhead band, American skinhead band. Let's just say that right now, period. So, people can have their story on who they came, first guy to get a haircut, first guy to lace up, whatever.
Right.
First skinhead American band was Agnostic Front. Just so everybody fucking knows that, and just so everybody knows they weren't on some white power shit. Fucking I mean, if you don't know that by now, you people are morons. But when we talk skinheads, I always like bringing that up because all of us have our roots, and that's where we all are. Everybody on this page, that's what we all are. Just because we don't, if we not, we may not have our flight jackets on at the moment or walk around. I'm letting everybody know what time it is. And the same thing with AF, and especially, you know, the skin movement. That's a big part of the hardcore movement, which is a big part of even sonically all our sounds. Everybody, I can say that on behalf of everybody. You know, the oi sound, the you know, the sounds that were adopted, that mixed from the punk side of the oi side, and from the metal. Everybody in this page did that, so I just wanted to say that. Yo, shout out to all the fucking skins out there. You know, but
well, I mean, I was gonna say that Victim in Pain, like that is the record that was the game changer. A lot of people, when they talk about hardcore, they talk about the Cro-Mags or whatever. Yeah. No, it was AF 100%, because that was like punk, skinhead. That was the hardcore hardcore punk.
It was the mash, the right mashup of shit.
When you back then, sorry, I want to say something.
No, go ahead.
Say it.
Back then, you didn't just refer to it as hardcore; you called it hardcore punk.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
I remember those days well. Yep.
And Maddie, all right, because Maddie, the AF sound as a guitar sound, like, you know, the overall that sound in hardcore meant. When we all heard Victim in Pain, just hearing Victim in Pain, I heard that in the background in my house because my brother was already listening to that. When I was listening to just hip hop, there was two other sounds, was Victim in Pain and Black Sabbath coming out of the other room. You know what I mean? So I always was like, I love Sabbath. And the other thing was crazy, but there was something I liked about it, but I liked it more when I saw them. Yeah. You know, there was a picture. I always tell this story, you know, AF, you guys had an article in an old titty magazine called New Look magazine. I remember this to this day. I was fucking like 11 years old. And my brother bought it because he's like, Agnostic Front's in it. And, you know, back then you had an article this big. It was a big deal. It was like Time magazine. Yeah. And the picture was Roger and Stigma in the backstage of CB's. They were after a show, sweaty or whatever. And I remember looking at them and I go, damn, these guys look fucking dirty. Like, like savages. But I was like, yo, but it's kind of hard. Something about it told me then. I was like, yo, but it looks hard. You know, they had tattoos. They didn't have no makeup on. You know, they had the graffiti in the backstage. And I was like, yo, there's fucking something about it. And then now I related the visual with the sound I would hear. And I say, yo, I love Slayer. I love it. But I go, this makes more sense of my everyday. This feels like my you know, when I ride the train with MQ, this is what it feels like. Like gritty and that. These are the dudes that are around. And it's right away. I went towards that. Maddie, you joined AF and you are a historian with the guitar work and with the music, like we all are. What was it about that the early guitar? What could you describe besides the tuning on the first album, which we'll talk about? What was it that you think stuck out to you? Because you're a good tone guy, and I know you were a tone guy early. What was it that made you like that and not push away from it because you are a guitar guy? And if, you know, when purists hear that record, so if they don't get it, they're going to sit there and say, things might not be tuned or this is louder than that, and they might not get it. You know what I mean? What made you get it since you were more a scientist with the guitar?
Because I had balls. Sounded badass. You know, and it's funny to talk about the picture, right? Because I can't remember what I was talking about or looking at, but just recently the fact that back in the day when we had records and we look at those records, when I hear those records now, they sound like the record looks.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. I mean? Hell
and
yeah.
when you hear Victim in Pain and you see that picture, that live shot, it's like, you know, Stigma's got that look on his face, real shaved down, you know, maybe a shirt, but the sleeves cut off. So, you know, you see arms with tattoos. And it's just like, you know, Roger's like up like this, and like, that's a fucking tough band playing some tough music. And the first note on the record, and again, laying the needle on the vinyl is what we did back in these days, right? Just and it's like, and it's off, you know what I mean? And it's like, these dudes are bad.
It's off to the races.
Stigma's guitar, just, I can't tell you how many songs since 1984 here in Victim in Pain. I still think, you know how we should start this one song out? And then go, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's just bam. And there's just no debate. There's no doubt in my mind. What Vinny Stigma brings to the table is from his gut and his spirit into the hands on that instrument. And it's like, it's attitude and style.
Yeah.
When I first joined Agnostic Front, Vinny, I don't know if you remember this, but I used to ask you questions about the overdubs you did on Victim in Pain. There's certain songs, like, I think, God, what is it? Remind Them.
Yeah.
And then out. You know, and it's like,
Yeah.
you were doing overdubs. You were doing, I'm sure, you know, you had like ideas, like you were adding color and texture to that recording.
There's definitely some texture on that recording.
And like yeah, like, you know how many times I've written With Time?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I wrote,
that song again.
You know what it is? Victim in Pain is the ABC of hardcore. So we always gonna go back to the alphabet. You're gonna always rewrite one of those songs.
And sounds, it's just it's got balls that just.
I always call it the greatest mistake of my life.
You guys were just you know, it was just like hit record and go.
It'll be 37 years on April 16th. We recorded it 37 years ago, 84.
37 years ago.
On April 16th. That's next weekend, and I always celebrate it. I text Roger every year. Happy birthday.
Yeah, gee, 37 years.
Right.
That is fucking insane. I was 1 year old.
Wow.
Waka, waka, waka. Yo, Stiggy, no, damn. You know, I use you as the example. They were like, how long could you do this shit? I said, Stigma's writing that book every day. You know, even
I'm in pretty good shape, you know.
Yeah.
I had COVID. I'm better. You know, I feel a lot better, and you know everything.
You're the playbook. You're the playbook. You know what I mean? When they write, all right, where you're gonna take is gonna be you.
Go here.
It should be shaped like Stigma's profile. You grab it by the nose and you open it, and then it tells you, okay, this is how you do it. You go till you can go. That's when you go. You know what I mean?
You go because you like to go. You love to go.
There you go.
You don't go.
And there you go.
And there you go.
You go, you gotta go. I always say when I go on tour, if it's January 1st and I'm coming home February 13th, I'm woo. And so February 13th, the night before, I start coming down and then go home. Until then, you want to go eat? Okay. You don't want to eat? Okay. You want to go here? Okay. Who cares?
Yeah.
What's the difference? You're going to eat, you're going to shower, you're going to play the show. You're going to sleep, get on the bus if you're lucky, get in the van. How many van tours we did, you know?
Yeah.
You know what? Stigma is like the Yogi Berra of hardcore. I mean, the quotes. I mean, and everybody here has been on tour with them.
Yeah.
The one that sticks with me is, when you're hungry, you eat. When you're tired, you sleep.
That's the meaning of life, dude.
It's that fucking simple.
It's true. It's literally the meaning of life. You know, in Pulp Fiction, when they open up the thing and you don't see what it is, it's basically that in words. It's like, you're hungry and Stigma like this. There's a picture of him.
The fucked up thing is he's gonna outlive us all.
Oh, absolutely. You kidding me? I watch him on stage. I sweat. I watch Stigma throwing grenades. You know, he throws the grenades. I'm sweating. I'm like, how he does it.
I love being on stage with all of you guys. I've toured with all of you guys. I've been on stage with you, and I had a lot of fun, especially with you, Hoya.
We had a lot. I
rode around circles at you. You'd be like, where the hell is he going?
I know, Stigma wilding. Oh, we had a lot. Oh, so
and I used to like play, like, you know, like punch at you, you know.
All the time. We wrote forget it. Believe me, I learned to love Stigma even more. Like every year after him, I fell more and more in love with him. Just the more and more. and it to the point where it's like it's disgusting. I hit him up all the time. I'm always like, I talk more stigma than anybody, because you really are the playbook on everybody. Got, you know, when on our whole movement. Oh, I'm too young. I grew out of it. I go, no, listen, shut the fuck up. This shit is rocking. Stigma's on stage right now somewhere. He's fucking drinking somebody's beer. He's putting some new kid on, and he's playing a fucking stage, and he's killing it. Shut the fuck up. Nobody knows what's what. He's writing the book. If you want to know how the story ends, follow Stigma. He's writing the book on it, period.
You know,
I don't care who. It's just what it is.
Yeah, you got to be a good role model too. I realize now, you know, as I got older, you know, and everything.
Stigma was always good. You always were good people. That's why.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you're loved by people. That's why there's other people who were around 1 billion years and they can't show their face because they hate it, because they're pieces of shit, and it comes out in the wash.
I always tell every band or ever, go make a friend. Better than making an enemy. Because now if I go to LA, I know my friends are going to come there, take me to a restaurant, hook me up with weed, take me out to bars.
Yeah.
You know, if I need a guitar, you know, anywhere in California. I got Lars, I got Mikey Hood, I got this guy, I got Chris from Power, I got this guy, the other guy, you know?
Yeah.
So it's always good to anybody who's in the band, go out, make friends. It's so, you don't want I'd show up, they're going to show up with a hardball bat, they're going to crack my head.
Well, the other thing, you know, Stigma, because I saw this from the first day I ever met you, and it was at a show in Chicago before I joined the band. It would have been on the Liberty and Justice tour in '88. And you were, after the show, you guys were breaking down, and I just wandered up to the stage, and, you know, you and I chatted for a brief moment, and from then on, and then joining the band with you and watching how you deal with people that we'd run into, opening bands is the example, right? Younger people, clearly, that weren't around from day one. You were always friends with them. It's like, you didn't give a fuck. You'd be older, clearly, right? And you're not hung up on like, these new guys, they don't know.
They're here. You know, they're part of you.
Exactly. And you always were like, that's how you welcomed everybody in. You brought people in.
We're trying to grow this movement. We're trying to get it together, you know?
Yeah.
Because if it ain't me, it's going to be you doing that.
I watched
Exactly. And this is what's great about, again, Agnostic Front, into my next thing that I wanted to get into. And Agnostic Front is one of the first people to do it. And speaking on, and it has to do with what became part of the blueprint and guitar playing in our music now, was the crossover, the letting the metal come into hardcore, because some people didn't want it. You know that, Stigma.
Yeah, well, look at Maddie. Maddie changed the face of Agnostic Front also. You know, I stand on his shoulders too.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid, here's some kid came out of fucking who knows where, Minneapolis. I fucking, he lived with me for a couple of years, Maddie, right?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, he just changed. He was a good kid, just like Willie.
Yeah.
You know, Willie was some kid from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You know, and we right away, it doesn't matter if you're from Pittsburgh, from New York, LA.
Everybody,
you know,
everybody has a play. Yeah, and everybody has a. If you want in, this is what I try to tell people. Is like, yo, if you got something, this is the way I see. Like, I don't want to get political, but like to countries, you want to live here, you got to invest in it. You know, when you invest in something, it gives back to you. You got to nurture it. You know, and you got to, you know, and that's how. And the same thing with the music. You know, we got to let people in. You know, and I'm glad it was let in, because I always loved metal, and I love that. But you know, hardcore was my inside. Yeah, exactly.
Hardcore gave you a life.
Exactly. That's my lungs. You know, metal was like, okay, maybe metal is my brain, but my lungs and my heart, that was the hardcore shit. And I was glad that I was able to use the same, our Jesus Christ in our Bible, which is Agnostic Front, to be like, yeah, those are also the same guys that didn't hate on metal when they came out with Cause for Alarm. You know what I mean? Which would made it for the purists. The purists may have hated it, but I liked it because I was like, yo, I like that metal shit. Now I could bring it in.
And that was before Maddie too.
Exactly.
Right? That was,
and I like the idea because I loved metal, but I never was into long hair, and I was never into makeup. You know what I mean? I was just never into piercings and all that stuff, but I loved metal sonically. So when I would find the Cause for Alarms and these other crossover bands, and then I was like, yo, dope. Okay, I could just say I'm doing Cause for Alarm and not say I want to play some metal shit. I could use it as a. But what I wanted to ask that same question to Lars, because Lars, where he comes from, that's a hotbed for metal, and I know you came up with a lot that in the background. The thrash greats were from fucking from all Northern California, and that's my shit. I'm a thrash. If it's metal, it's thrash. I wasn't into every thrash band, but if it was the Slayers, the Exoduses, the Metallica, early Metallica, the Handful, and that.
They were like hardcore guys too.
That's what I mean.
We were all on the same level. Like even with Bobby from Biohazard, you know.
Lars,
he worked with Pokey.
Yeah. What I want to ask Lars, because Lars is a Bay Area guy. Right? You consider your area the Bay Area? You also, because I know there's
raised, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know there's other cities that I don't know if it's considered Bay Area, but in that area.
Bay Area is just kind of it's like abbreviation of San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, so,
Oakland, Berkeley,
all those, and that's the hotbed for metal guys. And I know you were never really a metal guy, but I know you liked some metal stuff, and you were a rock guy more of that. But the metal that was around you, what was that? Did you find any metal that kind of clicked with you? Because I know you like some of it. What were some of the dudes out there that you were like, yo, I like what he's doing?
Well, Exodus, of course. I mean, I remember I saw, and it was funny because me and Zetro from Exodus were talking a while ago. I saw his second show with the band because they were at the Mountain View Theater. I saw Metallica. I saw, Testament. A lot of these bands because we have Broken Bones with Death Angel and GBH with Metal Church.
That's so dope. That's dope to hear. Like I'm like, oh shit, word. That's like
a lot of the times you would see like bands that we grew up with, like GBH, Broken Bones, whoever it was, and they would when the whole Combat Records was going out, because you had the thrash bands and the punk bands on the same level. So this is like 86, 87, and I think that I think the punk scene sort of softened to that, because when you thought metal back then, you thought like, Motley Crue and fucking, shit like that, which we weren't really, we weren't really about the excess. We were poor kids, you know what I mean? We didn't know anything about excess. Yeah. We didn't really have that kind of, what they were singing about wasn't relatable. But I think the thrash bands, they were like what Vinny was saying, it was more like on the same level. I mean, they might've had, longer hair but they had studded leather jackets and belts and stuff like that. So like, it wasn't that, different other than the hair really.
Yeah. But that's specific to the Bay Area. The Bay Area is basically New York City on the West Coast.
Well, for thrash, 100%. I mean, even Metallica had to move up.
Listen, if it was hardcore, thrash, graffiti, because SF is like New York with hills, you know what I mean? That same vibe. It's mad people. Nobody cares what's going on. It's not LA. You know what I mean? It's all, and it always reminded me of New York City in so many ways. And that's why guys that we know end up moving there, because they're like, oh, it's like not missing a beat. And the same thing with the music. The metal was dirtier. The hardcore was dirtier. The punk was dirty.
You also have to understand that San Francisco is still, a union town. It's probably the last one on the West Coast. And I mean, the last general strike was organized here. So it's like, I think that you have this heavily rooted working class, population. And I mean, in the 80s, when all this music was going off, I mean, there was really high unemployment here. It was not like, Silicon Valley as we know now, where every yuppie and every, dumb kid wants to move here now and stay here for a few years until they get bored of it and move on to wherever they go. People who were really from here had very, very solid working class roots. And I think that a lot of these bands that we're talking about, that's where all these people came from. Their dad was a janitor, or mom was, a hotel maid, or whatever it was. It doesn't, but I think just having that coming from that place, that's what bred, really good punk rock and really good thrash metal, and with a message, I think, and it had a social conscience. you know, and it was saying, you know, predicting
Yeah.
viruses I don't know. I'm just saying. Punk rockers been talking about this for about 40 years.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's true. You know.
Sorry, not to trivialize it, but
No, but yeah, we all know that, you know, everybody. Third eye, brother. All right, Maddie.
Mhm.
I kind of know who your guy is, but a lot of people, you know, and I get into it because, you know, when you can't talk guitar without, you know, talking, you know, obviously, besides the classics, like we all know the Tony Iommi's and, of course, and all those, you know, the AC/DC guys and the Led Zeppelin dudes, but the thrash guys, that you know, all these metal guys they have their part in the sounds of even later punk rock, which started adding more, and, you know, and the thrash era, you know, who was the guy that you've seen, you know, that made no, and I kind of know who it is, who your guy is, but let people know who was your guy, you know, the thrash dude, the guys in the heavy music that you were like, that's the motherfucker doing it, like he's doing something that people got to watch.
I mean, okay, so thrash era. Okay.
Because people want to know your heavy shit. Because a lot of people that hit me up want to know, and, you know, I'm always telling them Eddie Van Halen. They're like, okay, we know Eddie Van Halen. We know which metal guys you guys like, which punk guys. You know, they want to know the guys. There might be some bands that they listen to now, and they want to know who are the influences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, because I was punk rock, right? I mean, I, again, grew up on classic rock, so I already had that rock foundation with, you know, heavier distorted guitars being the main thing. And then, yeah, sure, Van Halen, in terms of like just being like amazing at the instrument, right? And the band kicked ass. I mean, to me, again, you know, they sounded like they're on fire when you heard it, right? But then get into punk rock, I mean, it's true. And I'm just saying it because the man's here on a podcast with me and because he's my very good friend. Stigma was one where it's like, you hear and feel some power there that you don't hear on other records. You don't hear from other guitar players. It's like, I mean, I learned every song on that record, you know, way back when it came out, right? And GBH, you know, I'm just kind of building up to where I'm saying,
yeah,
heavier Discharge, GBH, which, you know, Motorhead, you know, I mean, you got that gang, you know, that grimy,
that push, yeah, the percussion, like Lars was saying before, how the drummer part,
a little more distorted, a little bit
pushing,
more consistent, and then, you know, out comes Metallica.
Yeah, that's what I was.
And Metallica are wearing GBH and Discharge T-shirts.
You could kind of tell, like the guitar playing, and then it peaked that fucking James Hetfield.
You know, and now you got this guitar sound that everybody takes for granted today, but I remember before it existed with that jung 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 jung, you know, that real tight palm mute with that metallic edge. I mean, James Hetfield, Metallica. I mean, that's, you want to talk about rhythm guitar playing.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I knew it because
the key, though, to me, is to know how to use that and know how to put the Vinny Stigma in as well. Yeah. And then you got that fully balanced and just, you know.
What good is a cock with no balls? It's gonna look funny.
I mean, come on. Let's yeah.
It's just gonna look funny.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. You know, and I know Hetfield because, you know, again, that's like the you know, that those are the exactly. You playing anything tight, palm muting, you're thinking Metallica. You know, if you think, you know, even the word metalhead, I think that came from Metallica, like a Metallica head, right? Yeah, your big Metallica head, your big metal head. You know, it's like, but guitar playing, I don't know how anybody cannot fucking, you know, deny the right hand on that motherfucker. Stiggy, you're a little bit more of a more advanced, a little bit more aged breed. You know, besides Mozart, who was the other guy in music at your era?
Well, when I was a kid, before, you know, of course, and my other guitar players was the GBH and that came after.
But all right, yeah, Sticky, who was the guy you played? All right, you're playing. I know you already know how to play. You learned the oldies, but there was a guy something that shook it up. Who was that guy in the later years?
I think like Frank Sinatra. You know, to give you that
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know. Then again, and on the other side, Caruso, the singer. You ever hear of his records?
Mhm.
When you put them on, you hear the crackles
Yeah.
and the type of the recording. It gives you a feeling like, wow, this is.
Yeah.
You know, and that's totally like not hardcore, but it has a hardcore edge to it.
Yeah.
Same like a lot of old tango music I like.
Uh-huh.
It has that strife to it, you know.
Let me, okay, Stiggy, let me ask you this, because I know you were never a metal guy. You like metal stuff. You appreciate it. I know you're, you know, you weren't a metal guy, but you don't, you know, you ain't a hater. That's like one of your nephews. Metal's your nephew, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but what was it about metal that you did like? Right now they say Stigma. We want to know what could you say for all metalhead kids out there that'll give them a little bit of gas in their gas tank?
I think, you know, because it's reachable now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Especially with the crossover and the new style of metal, even like in Madball style, you know, and or, you know, the newest style. I think kids can relate to that kind of slip and sleight of hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guitar playing as, you know, then chicken picking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more real. It's more down to earth, and I think it's more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's more straight up, and you know when you that kind of, you know, than the flashy, flary style.
Yeah.
That's the metal I like. The real, you know, like the straight like Slayer. You know what I mean?
That's what I was just about to say. I was like, and I know how you felt about
like
Slayer.
Exes, I mean, kicking your face and rape and murder your wife.
Yeah.
My favorite line ever. Like, you know, how hardcore is that?
Yeah.
You
And
know?
that's the thing about those early thrash. You could tell the hardcore influence with the lyrics. They were trying to be.
I was on Combat Records with Slayer.
Yeah. And that was the hardest shit with AF and Slayer on the same label. Like, you fucking kidding me?
You know, all those bands we were on. I think Testament. I don't know.
All I gotta say, after Willie, imagine it would have been Agnostic Front with Lombardo.
Oof.
That would have been hard. That would have been hard to do a metal record with Lombardo. If Willie couldn't do it, like Willie was like, nah, fuck you motherfuckers. We get Cuba on drums. Yo, I'm gonna have to make some phone calls and we're gonna work on this next AF record. Nah, but yo,
work on our 30th anniversary. What do you call? Set it off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm pitching over here. I'm gonna get myself a gig, Maddie.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Be there.
We're gonna do. We got
anniversary, little tour. You know,
we gotta do the tour with it.
Have a good time. If this pandemic gets over with, what the hell?
Oh yeah.
Other than that, I'm good to go.
Listen, we're gonna acknowledge an old story and rumor that also got so blown up, and the only reason I'll even bring it up because mad people bring it up to me for the last 26 years, and we're gonna tell the truth, and we're also gonna debunk a lot
27 years now.
27 years on the Newport box. So to make a long story kind of short, basically at one point to fuck around, I used to smoke Newport cigarettes, and one day to fuck around, me and Willie were around, and we said something about Stigma was running around on stage, or like, let's really give him some freedom. Let's give him a wireless. And this was the days where nobody had wirelesses. So we're like, well, okay, we'll make him one. So then me and Willie, we looked at the cigarette pack. We're like, okay, we take the cigarette pack and we duct tape it to his strap. We put a cord in it and everything. So Stigma plays the show. He ain't plugged in. He's running around. You know, he may have did it for a show or two. Right? You know, we did it as a gag or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But this was the thing. But check this out. And I remember where it started. We're playing some bullshit youth club in the middle of nowhere, Germany. And we had technical difficulties. Maddie's guitar went out. So obviously there was no other guitar going on. So we just stopped playing. So we stopped playing, whatever. And it took a while. After the show, it's clearing out. There's some kids lingering around. There's some guy standing there. And he comes up to me and he goes, why Vinny no play? I was like, no, Vinny plays. He was playing. He was just low. He goes, no, Vinny no play. I go, yeah, he was just low. And he goes, I'm sound man. Vinny no play. And I was like, oh, I'll be right back. And I just kind of left. You know, I left it like that. Long story short, the rumors snowballed. I mean, years later that people were like, we heard Stigma never played. Stigma walked around with a fake a battery pack for fucking 10 years, and it became this. No, it was maybe a couple of shows, but we did do it. So that's the story of the.
It was
Stigma
only
Wild.
entertainment. It was
It
meant
was-
to have fun. And
It
that's
was,
what, you can't. That's what I mean about the reachable.
yeah,
in
good, clean
music,
fun.
that you could be that kid out there. You, whoever you are,
Yeah,
young kid, get out there. You could be up there, and you could do it maybe better than me. And I hope you do it better than me.
yeah, and it's true. And what
It
I
ain't
want
so hard to do, but go right ahead.
and what I want you guys to also let some people listen, especially Lars. I could start with you, Lars. Let people know that a lot of people. I want to what you call emphasize on this, because a lot of people think starting out, I need to buy a Les Paul 69. I need to buy a brand new Mark. How important is name brand shit when you're fucking starting to make music? Let people know, because I know we all know what's up, but from the horse's mouth.
I had a theory for many, many years, and I held to it. But like, if you're at the time, for me, I never paid more than $300 for a guitar. Like a lot of my SGs that I had were 125 Guitar Center specials, and I just put new hardware in it and some dirty fingers. And like the most expensive thing on the guitar was the pickups. And it's like, you don't have to like have, like a large bank account to play music. You can just go and buy everything. I mean, and as guitar players, I'm sure everybody will tell you, and even bass players, the sound is right here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And what you're doing to it. It's not necessarily everybody wants to sound like Jimi Hendrix, but nobody could sound like him because there's one Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I wanted you to even say that, because, which I think not only that, you went on to sell millions of records. You've done big things, and it's what it is. It shows passion is music. It's not just what do you call it? Technical stuff and theories and all that. You guys are good songwriters, and you, with that mentality, came up from not worrying about how much your equipment is and just the love of the music, where you were able to write music that fucking are played on commercials. You know what I mean? It goes to show you don't need to be classically trained. You don't need the newest brand of equipment. I try to explain that to kids, because nowadays is the era of name brands. Everything's a name brand, and if they don't got the name brand, you ain't cool. And I'm like, no, you can make it cool. It's like you could have the name brand, but then you don't stick out. When you make a no name, when you gotta jazz it up and you gotta give it life to make it stand out, then you stand out. And that's the thing that I'm trying to tell people, because I know all your guys' upbringings were very basic. Same thing with Maddie. Maddie, your guitar, your first thing was thrown together, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was the guitar I could afford, and it wasn't fancy. Again, Kalamazoo, you ever heard of it before? Most people haven't, right?
Old wooden ship.
But it worked, right? I'm just curious, Lars, did you, because would you call yourself a Gibson guy?
Not necessarily. I always played Epiphones because they were cheaper.
Right.
And, now I have my own ESP model, and it's an SG kind of shape, and then and I got my own pickups, EMG pickups. But that didn't come until, how long I've been doing this? 30 years, and I'm just getting that shit now.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed and I'm fortunate, for having that opportunity. But it's, I always to me, it was like, Epiphones I thought that they sounded good. It's like those shitty $100 BC Riches, you know what I mean? When BC Riches were shit, I made Rancid the 5th record with a BC Rich, $100 BC Rich, because it just sounded fucking crazy,
Yeah. And, the reason I asked is because, again, Van Halen was my original inspiration. So I was Strat body, tremolo bar type player, right? As I gotten older and kind of focus a little bit more on less of that and more on just kind of beating on the strumming side and non-tremolo type stuff. It'd be cool to get a Gibson, let's check it out. I wouldn't buy, I cannot believe how expensive they are. I don't know how anyone could be a Gibson
Yeah,
guy.
I love all those classic guitars. That shit, it costs fucking, buy a house with these guitars.
Let me tell you something, though. This is a funny story, and because he's here. So, I had back surgery when I was 29, so I couldn't play Les Pauls anymore. And I was trying to figure out what to do, where to go. And Matt Freeman and Tim, and we were all talking, they're like, and I was saying, I don't really know what kind of guitar to get. And Matt goes, well, what about an SG? And then literally Tim said, yeah, Vinny Stigma plays an SG. And that was like the selling point.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Sold.
Literally, that's why I play those SG shapes now. Is because of Stigma.
Yeah. And he used to have the Les Paul Jr., right, Stiggy, right?
Yeah, I had that. That was my first, when I toured with GBH in 86, 85, they came to America, they had no equipment. So me and Jacques used to use my guitar, you know? And you think we take strings? We changed one string then. Like if it breaks, you change the string, that's it.
If it breaks, you change it. Not
he reminded me of one time we lost my guitar in Dallas. He just reminded me of it just when I seen him last. I said, oh, right. I remember that. And just like Maddie reminded me of the Joe Paz story. I remember that now with the sweaty head, the bald head. I remember that.
Sweaty head.
You know, sometimes you, like in life, you know, I go to church, I think of like my mother's friends, all the old people that passed away. And like you know, I run into somebody and tell me a story. Hey, Vinny, remember we hit the baseball over there, whatever. And it's like, it's nice to have memories like that, you know?
Oh, yeah, of course. Stigmatic. I'm glad, first of all, I'm glad we were able to connect you on this shit because for a minute there, we would thought like, you know, what's happening? We need to get the lifeline, the jaws of life to get you on the Zoom.
I got Danielle,
Thank God.
Craig Satari calls him my
handler.
My handler. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Thank God.
Thank God for Daniel. Everybody, round of applause for Daniel.
Yeah.
That's why we got Vinny Stigma on the dick. Stigma. This is what I wanted to say. A quick thing about Stigma, and this is what got. And we're gonna see if he could whip something out. So back then, when we're talking about the cigarette pack days, Stigma was basically he was just getting in a time in his life, I think, where he was just, whatever. It was before he got out of the band and he wanted to move on or whatever he was planning to do in his life. So he was moving away from music, basically. And then I remember me getting, saying, we're working on new music and a lot of the stuff was more metallic. And, we're getting Vinny, come on, Vinny. And Vinny was kind of like not even trying and we were getting mad. And then I remember sitting there one day and he picks up an acoustic guitar and he starts playing and singing. And I got so pissed off because I go, this motherfucker got, we're just trying to get him to pick something and he's not even trying because he just didn't want to. He was in the mood. But now he busted out a guitar and started singing and playing all these oldies and fucking blew my mind. Yeah. And I was like, then that's when I learned the secret of Vinny Stigma. I was like, you just got to let him go.
It's entertainment, man. That's all it is.
You just got to let him go. And you just did a thing for you just recorded some acoustic shit, right? Didn't you? Didn't you? Or you played some live show, or Stigma band shit?
Yeah, that was for Revive the Music.
Oh, yeah. That's what you just did, right?
Yeah, that's for Generation Records, and it's the same thing I did for Jesse Malin for Save the Stages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're trying to, help out all the local people that help out the hardcore community and all the bands.
Yeah.
That maybe raise some money and Mark and Jesse are two great guys. They really do a lot for music and the scene. No, they look out for everybody. It's good, man. Right now we got to put light on all these people trying to keep alive and all these clubs because that's the spots that we're gonna have to play. There's one last argument or discussion I want to bring up to you guys because this is a perfect thing to have you guys because this is something that's been brought up for many years and you all could have a different I want to hear what you all got to say about it. Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, they're in a steel cage guitar match. You got to pick one. And I know who I got, and I know I think you got, but I got my reasons. But we're gonna go, and I want to right now. We're gonna play lawyer for our pick. We're gonna start with fucking Sir Lars over there. Oh, the lawyer for the Nordic Viking people. All right, the Viking lawyer. Who's your pick of guitar overlord of your fucking tribe, of your Nordic tribe?
Well, I mean, okay, so Stevie Ray Vaughan obviously is more of my generation, right? So I'm going to be more familiar with him, But then you hear Voodoo Child, Jimi Hendrix, and you're just like, does anything really step to that?
Yeah.
And even, even Stevie Ray Vaughan's version of that. I mean, I think it's the way that
better. You could say it. It's better.
I don't know. I won't say that, but I will say that it's like it's such a hard thing to do because regardless of the era, they're both phenomenal and game changers, and approach guitar, and obviously both left us way too fucking young.
Wolfgang is in a guillotine right now. They say, Lars, you got to pick your guy. Wolfgang's head is going to roll unless you pick.
Well, I got a chance to see Stevie Ray Vaughan. I never saw him.
Oh, so. I thought you were going to say, I have another son left. I thought you were about to say that. That would have been great.
I'll make more.
Yeah. So who would be, you had to pick your guy. Who you think? Because you know why? I know, believe me, I understand. That's why I bring it up, because it's so. You're going to come up, Stigma, but I want to hear Lars' his case because, and your argument, because this is a good argument for guitar people because it's so tough. But I got my reasons also. Who you got, Lars? 3, 2, 1.
Hendrix.
All right. Ooh, Wolfgang, God, kiss your father. Hendrix, okay. And I know why I think you're gonna pick him, because you're giving him the extra credit for being the guy who first started the ball rolling. So I'm gonna take credit for reading your brain, even if I'm wrong. All right, Maddie. Maddie, you gotta pick. And I don't even know your answer on this, but I know you agree with me in a lot of this, but I don't even know your answer. So I'm really curious.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
The reality in terms of, as a guitar player that spoke to me more out of the two, it'd have to be Stevie Ray Vaughan, because, like Lars said, his generation, my generation, but here's the reality. If you're talking about that situation, you're talking about the cage match. Yeah. So was it a
cage match? They right head to head, in the crossroads, the devil's there.
Lay his weapon down, put his head down right in front of Jimi Hendrix, if that was the case, and said, "Take me, take my life."
No, exactly, and that's because Muhammad Ali, who would destroy any boxer ever before him, he would do that at Jack Johnson out of respect. Right. Because that's what makes him even more bigger. So yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Thank you, Maddie. I take that as a Stevie Ray Vaughan. Right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Am I reading between lines?
I mean, again, to answer your specific question, give you one person, it would have to be Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stigmatic. I guess we think you know, but tell us your love and why.
I don't know. Jimi Hendrix was the guy for me.
Yeah.
But I think I got to bring somebody on that would challenge both those guys. To a cage match. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, we're gonna see who's gonna challenge. Drum roll, please. Who could challenge Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan? Drum roll, please. You got me thinking. Yeah! Oh shit!
Who is it? I'll take the two of them and I'll crush them. I'll shred them. I'll shred them up. And I am the guitar god.
Oh shit! And there you go. Well, I guess
that's settled.
Well,
get him out of here. Get that guy out of here.
And there you
go. He's crazy, that guy.
Guys, everybody, you never know who's gonna drop in on the show. You don't know, Mil Mascara, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Stigmatic, Jimi Hendrix, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I said, why it's funny, because I can honestly say my opinion on this only comes from, since I hated all of that shit as a kid, because it was out of they were both, I considered it old, and I was like, yo, that's some other shit. And Stevie Ray Vaughan, I used to be like, that's some hillbilly shit. When Willie and these guys would listen, that's some hick shit. I don't want no part of it, because I wouldn't give it no chance. And then I listened one day, and I get Hendrix. Hendrix is freestyle. I get it. Hendrix brought the punk rock to guitar playing.
That's it.
He brought the punk rock to guitar playing, like the freestyle. But Willie and these guys would hear Stevie Ray Vaughan, and one thing I'm the furthest thing from, I'm opposite of hillbilly. And Stevie Ray Vaughan just reeked of hillbilly to me. But when I watched him play Jimi Hendrix, I said, that's what Jimi Hendrix should sound like. Hey, I'm saying this is what I felt. Not
right. That's Albert King's nephew, right?
But I was blown away, because I said, this guy is playing with that much flavor, and he had flavor, like what I consider flavor, and he was so clean playing, but I was like, he's a white boy, but he has soul. And I was like, but he has the soul like Jimmy, but he's playing cleaner.
Yeah,
I was like,
he is cleaner.
I mean, for a younger guy who's used to hearing a more modern sound, it makes sense that Stevie Ray Vaughan would be the choice because it's like he was cleaner, he was more precise, but still nasty. And again, he would not be without Hendrix. I mean, that's just the reality.
True, that's true. But I mean, you also have to think about Jimmy's legacy. I mean, he was also a songwriter too.
100%.
Not that Stevie Ray wasn't, but like when I think Stevie Ray Vaughan, I think of either, you know, his covers of Hendrix or Pride and Joy. That's track. But when you think Hendrix, it's like Stigma was saying, it's like there's Purple Haze, there's Hey Joe.
His hits were bigger for sure. Bigger.
Also a lot of like cover songs too, but like still, you know, Voodoo Child, like, I mean, come on, that's like one of the greatest rock and roll tracks ever, you know?
Stevie Ray, he's playing this one show and he pops a string. And his homeboy changes the string while he's still playing, and he don't miss a beat. And I almost wish he breaks it every time in that spot. That's how dope it was. I was like, this dude is the flyest hillbilly hick dude that ever freaking played that shit when I saw that.
His brother used to come from behind him and play.
Yeah. Then it must have been his brother, but came and changed the string. He changed the string while he was playing.
Yeah,
even if it was staged. I was like,
you know, listen, I know me and Hoya have talked about this before, but like it's like also one of those questions like John Bonham or Phil Rudd. I'm gonna go Phil Rudd all day because I fucking hate Led Zeppelin because that's.
I hate Led Zeppelin too, but I mean, Bonham is the guy.
No, sorry, Phil Rudd, AC/DC. Come on.
We argue this. All right, Matt, this is the argument. We're gonna bring Maddie real quick. We're gonna bring in the drums real quick for 1 minute. Okay. This is our argument. Me and I ain't a Led Zeppelin guy. I'm a Sabbath guy. But and I put Bonham as number one because in the later years, I analyzed him. I said, this dude's the GOAT. Phil Rudd is fucking Lars dude. He was saying a pocket guy, AC/DC, which is a pocket band too. Different pocket, but pocket band. Who's your guy? You have to be out of those two. Oh, who's your guy?
Yeah, it's got to be Bonham. I mean,
No, but who was it? Who else was a rug guy? No, Mikey Cheese. Mikey Cheese was a rug guy, right? Because he's more rock and roll. But, you know, I think we got a little bit more of this, Maddie, than them. You know what I mean? You know, Bonham had a little bit more color, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Bonham.
Because you could pass it.
The paper bag test, you remember?
I mean, Bonham to me is just like, you know, it sounds like a king playing on the drums. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like.
But I get it, Lars. I know that's why I pick him because it's like picking your favorite child. You really can.
I mean, Phil Rudd, and this is what I feel like a lot of drummers don't get this, right? That's too boring. I don't want to play that beat. That's too. It's like, well, you know what? If you played it like you felt it and you meant it, it wouldn't be boring. But yeah, if you're back there being bored, it sounds fucking boring. So, you know, Phil Rudd, I mean, a genius, a master. There would not be AC/DC because if they had some drummer who was bored and was playing all over the place because he wanted to satisfy his own trip.
Yeah.
And we've all played it in front of motherfucking drummers who want to be frontmen. And
the worst.
And I can thankfully say I'm not currently doing that, but like.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. It's odd.
Yeah.
Awkward.
It's great. But yeah, Stigmatic. I'm still glad we got Stigma in the build. It was good to see. I'm glad we got you. No, Stiggy, I'm glad, and I wanted to do this one because again, I wanted to do some for the guitar dude, something to get off, and I wanted to see you guys. And what's the deal with you, Lars? What's the deal with Rancid? How's things looking? Because things are opening up a little bit. Is there any new news on the Rancid front, on the old firm front?
Well, I'm just getting ready to release a little solo record kind of thing. And I took some like old songs. So I did this like Billy Bragg-esque kind of thing right before the shutdown, me and guitar. And I just played some old songs. So I kind of re-recorded them, added some piano, Hammond B3, it's little percussion to like 6 songs. That's going to get released pretty soon.
That's just solo stuff.
Just solo stuff. There'll just be some Viking shit. And
that's dope.
Then Rancid, we're almost done with our new record. Just got to do a few more, sing a few more vocals, and hopefully.
Oh, I didn't know you guys that. You got to send me something just so I can start dangling in front of people. I heard something you didn't.
Well, and then just like hopefully we'll be out in the summertime, but who knows? Right now, all I know is I got going over to a barbecue with all the fellas.
Yeah.
Good
shit. Yeah, tell everybody we said what's up and everything.
I'll be with Chris and Casey and Kellen and all the heads. So
yeah, let everybody know we said what's up, and we're gonna be headed out. Maddie, what's up with you? What's the deal with you? The band.
Yeah. So the eulogy, we got that. We did that split with Rikers, and it people seem to be digging it. And now we're gonna re-release it through Indecision, just pure digital, with a couple other tracks that have already been released, but kind of bundle it up. That should be happening soon. And then, I don't know, we want to get together to write, but I got baseball kicking in with the kids, man. I got 3 kids, 3 different teams, 3 different leagues, schedules all over the place. But it's good, man. Finally getting outside and getting these boys.
Yeah, shit's starting to open up, and I'm glad the same thing out here. So I'm glad, especially we could get rid of the kids for a while. These motherfuckers are driving me crazy. Stigmatic, what's up with you? Stigma's been busy. I seen him doing hustling. What's the deal with you? What's the deal?
Well, people still digging the records, my solo records, and we just recorded Get Loud just before the.
I know.
We didn't even get a chance to play Get Loud, on tour. Yep. So basically, I got a brand new record out.
Yep.
That didn't get, we didn't tour yet.
Yep.
Because of this thing. And doing some Stigma stuff. We're going to do maybe a little an EP or something with Phil Gavano or something in the works. But we're just waiting for this whole thing to end. I had the COVID.
Yeah. Oh, you did, right? I heard it and I didn't believe it. So you had it, huh?
Yeah, I had it. I was for like a month. I was sick.
Overall, the hardcore scene, we had a couple close calls, but overall, I think we did okay until this started popping up, and then so. Just want to throw out some fucking positive vibes to anybody out there. Whatever your political shit is, think it's real or not, there's people getting sick from it. Just hopefully everybody's all right and all that. But I was glad to see all you motherfuckers. I'm glad you made it on. And
thank you,
I wanted to do this to talk some shit, get us on and see everybody quick. And I'm glad people are gonna like this because we don't get to, all be together, in one shot and then let people in on it. So I wanted to fucking, make some fun of it. But Lars, I love you. Maddie, I love you. Stigma, I love you. Everybody too, out there, look out for this. Check out all their shit. AF, the eulogy, Old Firm, Rancid, CasaDeRock.com. We love you. Hardcore lives. You know what's up. Yo, skinhead.
Later, fellas.
Yo, I want to thank everybody for tuning in again. I've been having a blast with it. I want, anytime I get to break bread with my family, especially with Stigma, it's not only a treat for me, I think for everybody, but thank you for tuning in. Again, you have to subscribe. And if you want to support the movement, now invest again at Patreon/The Smokin Word. Join the movement. Catch that wave. And again, yo, Rob, rest in peace. This one's for you.